What a wonderful day, though, Jonathan. I mean, you know, for the winter for English Test cricket fans in particular, so bleak, and for the players as well, probably for the broadcasters. Just watching it today, it just sort of felt like a day where everyone connected with England was just cutting loose.
Absolutely. I mean, to score 500 the first time since the Chennai Test match of last year. I mean, they got nowhere near it in Australia. Obviously, they got near it once against India during the summer. But it was a good day today. I mean, they'd have liked another couple of wickets. They're not pouring any cold water or anything. I'm just being honest. You know, to rack up so many runs and have 26 overs at the opposition, up against 507. But the point is, I mean, sure Philip would have seen, and this is most unusual. I mean, I've seen a lot of Test matches here on this ground, lucky man that I am, but I've never seen a ball turn on this pitch like it is now, and it's only the second day. Now, there's all sorts of reasons for that, but not least because they've played a lot of cricket here, all those T20 matches that they played, and there have been other tourists here as well during the course of this season in Barbados. It's not a very big square, and it's even, if you take into account where the television gantries are, where the cameras have to go, they've got very limited pitches and they're tired. And this pitch, I mean, you'll hear Ben Stokes talking to me when we get round to play that interview. He talked to me a few minutes ago. I mean, he thinks it's really going to go, which is very unusual for Barbados. When there are parts of the Caribbean where, the ball spins a bit, you can go to Trinidad, you can go down to Guyana and so on. But Barbados, no, it's been fast bowlers here. You know, a bit of up and down bounce, the ball flying through to the keeper and so on, excitable crowds. So, and again, Kimo Roach, you'll hear him. I've talked to him, the fast bowler, having a bit of a moan actually about it. I mean, he's from here, and he's saying that these pitches simply aren't any good for fast bowlers. But anyway, I mean, the long and the short of that is England will say, well, thanks very much. We come here on a turning pitch. Leach, I think, got quite a lot of confidence in that last match in Antigua. He bowled tidily. He bowled reasonably threateningly, and he's bowled tidily again here so far. He hasn't quite found that turn and bounce that Permal, his opposite number, found. But it's only the end of the second day, and West Indies are 436 behind, and they are going to be up against it.
Yeah, and some great knocks, John. Dan Lawrence with a great 91. Joe Root just keeps churning them out. And Ben Stokes, that looked like, or felt like, there was a lot of pent-up frustration there from Ben Stokes.
There is. I mean, Ben Stokes at the moment is training as hard as I've ever seen him. And I mean, he trains
steady.
Like extraordinarily hard anyway, but he is really, really pushing himself. Yeah. And yet, on the other hand, he's also very much the sort of vice captain of this new, reset, or whatever you want to call it. And he's also being extremely personable, very chatty, putting himself around, talking to people. I think he wants to be very much part of England moving off in this new direction. But I mean, you mentioned Dan Lawrence. His innings in Antigua was only 40 odd. But it was the way that he got those runs. Yeah. It was 37 he got. The way he got those runs. Totally selfless, just playing for the team. A young lad who's got his chance to come in and bat at number 4. There have been a few who might have thought, hang on a minute, I might just let the other fellas take chance their arms. But no. Lawrence playing some extraordinary shots. He's got a real flair, and it was such a shame when he went off yesterday. Okay, you'll say, why did you do that? And Root at the other end, if he had his time again, I think he'd have come down to Lawrence and said, look, you've hit 2 boundaries, you're ticking, it's the end of the day, just play these balls out and we'll carry on tomorrow and get you 100. But he was going, his dander was up, adrenaline flowing, and bang, he hit that catch to cover, and Root put his hand on his head and just stood there down at this end, and Lawrence almost sort of swept himself off his feet with his bat. He swung it round so hard, a disappointment, So that was but he's got something, Tuffers. He really has got something a little bit different. He's got a lot of energy.
He's a character,
isn't
he, John? He's a character. He looks like a character. He is a character.
He is a character, and I mean, I've heard his name sort of linked to Derek Randall actually, which is quite an interesting one. Other people have talked about Kevin Peterson. And I mean, that's but remember those days when people were comparing the next one along to Ian Botham and stuff. You can't have comparisons like that. He doesn't bat like Kevin Peterson. No one will ever bat like Kevin Peterson, but he has got some flair. He's got something, and he's very much his own man. He does get leg side of the ball, hits a lot through off, gives himself that little bit of room. Joe Root, well, I mean, he's just in extraordinary form
of his life.
Yeah, and even with that slight interruption with the Ashes, he has picked up again, and importantly for him, I think he had it in his own mind. I've never understood these batsmen and these batting position stuff. 10 or 11, it made no difference to me.
Yes, me neither.
No, so why should 3 or 4 make any difference to these batsmen, really? I mean, he was going in 2 wickets down in no time anyway. So, but he's had it in his mind, and of course, people are superstitious. You do have it in your mind. These sportsmen are like that. He was trying to get out of batting number 3. He didn't want to bat number 3. He gave it another go a couple of years ago, went back to number 4 again. But this time he said, no, I'm going to do it. And so to score 200s in the first 2 matches in which he's done that, you can't ask for any more than that, can you? And the way that he's played. He'll be disappointed with how it got out today. He played across a straight one. Yeah, he played across a straight ball today. But and then Stokes, he walked out after lunch, and I remember I was just strapping myself in here. Got his chairs in the press box. I just thought I'd just strap in, settle down here. The party stand had gone a bit quieter. They come out the pool and they were going to watch. And he just moved. He moved on a bit. He hit 2 consecutive 6s off Brathwaite. He's not much of a spinner, to be honest. 2 6s, and then he clubbed one up with the air and got out. But I mean, England already then were very well placed. But it's a bit of a shame, because that would have really put a bit of an icing on the cake of the day if he'd really smashed a couple of hundred. But he entertained us anyway.
Really emotional day for Ben Stokes, and there was emotion writ across his face when he scored the 100. Of course, it's his first Test 100 since the passing of his father, and we can hear now from Ben Stokes speaking to Jonathan.
We've had a very good 2 days here. Winning the toss, getting 500, and in the manner that we did, I thought was excellent. Obviously Dan and Joe set the day up really well yesterday for us, and allowed the middle order to come in and play in the way that they did. I think it's all about just sort of looking at the situation of the game and seizing those opportunities and understanding when something might be necessary. And today, I made the option to try and put the attack and score as many runs as we possibly could in a short period of time. Because you never know, the wicket might turn up like Antigua, and we might find it quite difficult to take 20 wickets. But it's amazing how much this wicket's changed in the last probably session and a half. We've seen a few balls there from Leachy to start to spin and bounce, so it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. You just seem primed to go there. 2 6s, and okay, you missed time the 3rd, but were you really looking to launch an attack?
Yeah, I mean, we had so many runs on the board that, at the time that I got out, it was pretty irrelevant what had happened there, because we were always going to get, 500. And I was just trying to get there as quick as we could, because obviously we would have liked to take in a few more wickets tonight, but what we've done is we've managed to put them under pressure, and we managed to take 1 wicket tonight. But as I said, we've got a good opportunity to be able to bowl them out and hopefully win this game.
Yeah. Was Root looking for 200? Did he have his eye on that? Was he getting hungry?
No, I mean, me and him have played together a lot when sort of in those situations, and he just said he was going to try and give me as much strike as he possibly can, and we worked really well. He did at one stage actually say, I wish I could do what you one day lads do. But yeah, no, I know Joe, he knows me, and we know exactly, when Joe's going, and he knows when I'm going, so we know how to sort of feed off each other.
Yeah. And a word about that pitch, because it does look as if it's starting to do a bit more now.
It is. I mean, you've seen the way that Leachy got a few of those balls to spin and bounce, and with the new ball, a couple of balls, went through the top a little bit as well. So it's good signs for us going into tomorrow, but we know we're going to have to bowl well to bowl these guys out.
And Matt Fisher, I mean, first ball goes for 4. You think, oh, hang on, and then wicket second ball. I mean, it's perfect, isn't it?
It's one of the. I know there's a lot of great feelings in playing for England, but seeing new guys come in, and I remember when he got his cap, he couldn't stop smiling from ear to ear for the next 20 minutes, and then seeing the excitement and the crowd go wild there when he took his first wicket, it's awesome. Considering we're playing in a country, away from home, to have the support we've got here at Barbados, that's going to be a special moment for Fish, and I don't think he'll forget that, too quickly.
Yeah, lovely start for Matt Fisher, getting the 1 West Indies wicket so far. We've got Jonathan Agnew, Phil Tufnell with us. It's half-time in extra time in that Europa League last 16 tie at the London Stadium. Sahel Sahi.
Still West Ham 1, Sevilla 0 on the night, 1 apiece on aggregate. There was one chance in the first half of extra time. It was a corner flicked on at the near post by Craig Dawson. and then Thomas Souček with a scrambling far post diving header. He hit the side netting. 15 minutes away, Steve, from the dreaded penalty shootout, but it's West Ham who lead Sevilla 1-0 on the night, but it's 1 apiece on aggregate.
Phil, it's so... Oh, go on.
No, I was just saying, well done to Matt Fisher as well. Second ball. It is a little monkey on your back. You know what I mean? You want to get off the mark. You want to get that first wicket. Took me a whole Test match, and I was sort of going to sleep after that first Test match, going, "Oh no, I'm never going to get a Test wicket." So he'll be absolutely delighted with himself. Interesting there, just listening to Ben Stokes, that it is starting to turn. So England, I think now, once they've got that big score, you can just relax, be patient. Go about your business, hold your tight lines and what have you, and put pressure on. Jack Leach is going to play a huge part in this Test match.
Jonathan,
it's
just
like
nice.
Matt Fisher. I'll say he's got a bit about him. I hadn't met him before. And in Antigua, he just strolled up and introduced himself. "Hello, I'm Matty. Nice to meet you." And walked off. I thought, hello, that's something for a youngster. He's had an interesting career. He started competitively at the age of 15, but he's had so many injuries. I mean, he's only played 21 first-class matches. He's 24 years old, so there is not much experience there. There's quite a lot of injury there, obviously, which we just hope. It's not going to haunt him now. He's got over that, but he's got a very springy action. I like his run-up. He's got a very tall arm. He comes right over the top, and in the first couple of overs, he showed us an outswing, in-swing, and a bouncer. So he's got quite a lot going on there, and I know that the players and the coaches really rate him. Very highly indeed. He is only a very young fella, and he's got a long way to go. But I'm with you. It took me a long time. It took me well into the second innings before I got my first wicket. And it's a horrible feeling because you start searching and trying and doing this and worrying. If you can get an early wicket, it just makes so much difference. All that pressure is gone. And I thought Joe Root used him nicely, changed ends and so on. He gave him a real opportunity. So I like the look of him, and if he can stay fit, then I think he's going to be one for the future.
Is he got a bit of pace as well, John?
He's lively, Tuffers. He's not quick, but he's sharp enough to get you on the back foot. He's sharp enough to bowl a bouncer. But then, and also therefore to pitch that ball about a little bit further when you are on hanging back a little bit. But he's not. No, he's not. I mean, he's in the old days we'd say right arm medium fast.
Yes. Yeah.
He's the way you describe him then, Jonathan, just coming up and saying hello. He doesn't sound necessarily like the kind of character who would be potentially of thinking, "Am I going to get a wicket? Am I going to get a wicket? Oh goodness me, what if I don't get a wicket?"
No, well, that's true. I mean, I thought that's what a nice thing to do. I mean, everyone's missed everybody a bit over his last 2 years, and so I was just chatting to some of the players who I hadn't seen. I think I was speaking to old Jack Leach actually, and this youngster potted over, and I messaged the media man and said, "Hey, yes, what a character is. That's absolutely typical of him, and that's great because when you sit and doing this job now, you're sort of expected to make instant judgments on people, and it's hard. It's difficult to. How do you judge Alex Lees or whatever on one game? But there are others who very easily just cruise into that next level up. Someone like Ben Stokes, Sam Curran actually was someone also who seems to take to it very easily, and it wouldn't surprise me if this fella did as well.
Yeah, good signs. And he, as you said, has he only played 24 first-class games? Did you say, John?
21.
21 first-class games. So that really is a bit of a, that is a pick for the sort of a bit of an off-the-wall pick, isn't it?
It is, but having been around for so long, he has had bad injury issues. So let's hope that he's through those.
Yeah, they've obviously sort of pinpointed a little bit of something about his character as well, a bit like a Dan Lawrence. I'm finding it thoroughly fascinating seeing how, okay, there's been the big Broad Anderson, what have you, but it is just nice to see a few other fellas going out there and seeing what they've got as well. I found it very intriguing.
It's like, Philip, when you sit, I mean, in your case, I'm sure watching a spin bowler for the first time.
Yes.
In my case, watching a new fast bowler for the first time. I just sit there and just watch it and just really enjoy it. Steve Harmison's done a lot of work with Fisher. It's rather sad because it's typical of the time, but Harmison was asked to give Fisher his cap, which is quite something. You're in the circle there, everyone comes up, and a former player comes along and gives you a cap. It's all very special. Poor old Harmy was having a COVID test, so he couldn't do it. I mean, it rather sums everything up at the moment, doesn't it?
So he was still down Harbour Lights. Still down Harbour Lights, Harmy.
Well, he might have been. I better excuse. But so Joe Root gave it to him instead.
It is nice, Phil, to see the new guys coming through, like Ben Stokes was saying there. But it's also really nice to see Ben Stokes looking like Ben Stokes again, and Joe Root for that matter.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been so impressed with Joe. I know he's coming for a lot of criticism about his captaincy, really. So I hope that he sort of is able to brush that off, and it doesn't half help when you've got the guys and they're playing well. And just listening there to Ben Stokes, you felt that energy about him. He's all about energy, and Aggers was just saying there about his training and he's setting examples. This is how we've got to do it. It's great for the young kids just to see how top professionals go about it, but then also just to hear that desire in his voice, you know what I mean, and just the way he was sort of bubbling up about they set up a great day, and we're going to go in, we're going to do this, and we got 500, it's great, and I was just trying to go on for the team. It's great to see him back and performing. As you say, had that very bad thumb injury and a nightmare in Australia, so it's great to see the guys bouncing back, and Aggers mentioned it there. I think the crowd has given him a real lift as well. It really must have, because you come back and you're second guessing yourself a little bit after a nightmare like it was down in Australia, and to come back, get some runs, the skipper get runs, the vice get runs, your talisman get runs, the youngster come in and get a wicket second ball. It's just good for the side.
I was just reading, Phil, this piece from Cameron Ponsonby on ESPN Crick Info. This is about the nature of the noise today in Barbados. So we could just hear a bit from the London Stadium there. But this is what he wrote. He wrote, "The Greenridge and Haynes stand morphed into the Cop. The open-air nature of cricket means it's not often you get that visceral echo that is so synonymous with football grounds. But here you did. I mean, to be an England player or fan and to do well, if you can't do well in Australia, there can't be anywhere better than the West Indies."
Well, we won. Aggers will probably know the date. When did we beat the West Indies at Kensington Oval, the old Kensington Oval, first time?
I knew you were going to bring this up, because I was going to bring it up. There's a certain part of the ground, I'm looking at it now, where Brian Lara hit one in the air, and we all thought, this is a winning moment. Oh no, Phil Tufnell's under it.
Hey, listen, I managed to hang on to that, and it's just as well, because he would have probably got 300 and won the game for him. But that was fantastic.
I knew you'd bring it. It was 94, wasn't it? And you were running back towards where the party stand is. I know, you did cling on. You did a very good, very fine catch, actually, Philip. But I remember the sinking feeling when we realised we were underneath it at the time. But the point about the noise here is that it goes with the wind. So you've got all this open side. It's a very different ground now to those days, but this whole open side of the right-hand side. And so all that noise from the party stand actually comes across the ground on the wind as well. It's a strong wind, and so there's no escape. If you're the West Indies, they've got this deafening noise all day. Just to get back to your previous point though about Stokes and so on. Root and Stokes are having to lead this. I mean, people are calling it a red ball reset. I mean, it's a cliche, it's a soundbite. The fact is, you just call it. You can call it a bit of a kick in the pants. You've got to call it what you like. England got to play better. So they are leading that, and and I will say this, that there is a lot of energy about these players out in the field. Now, that is not to say that they wouldn't have been that energy without Broad and Anderson. I'm not saying that for one moment. All I'm saying is that for what we've seen of these players out here, and there are some youngsters, they have got this energy that there wasn't in Australia. Now, they were being hammered in Australia. It was an awful tour of Australia. There was COVID everywhere, and they were losing all the matches. And I make the point again, I'm not saying it because those two aren't here. I'm simply saying that when those two come back, and I think they will, but they will find that there is this much more energetic feel about the dressing room, which they will have to be part of, and I'm sure they will. But there does feel to be a bit of a different atmosphere out there at the moment.
Let's hear from Kemar Roach, because Jonathan's been speaking to him about the West Indies bowling performance. Before Johnny Bairstow was dismissed, Alzari Joseph had figures of 0 from 98 for 20 overs. Here is Roach with Aggers.
That felt like a long day out there in the dirt, Kimo.
Yeah, pretty much. 140 overs, I reckon. Pretty tough day for us as a bowling group, but we came out with 9 wickets in the innings, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and that's two for you. I wasn't helping you very much.
Yeah, it wasn't much in the pitch for me, but to get 2 wickets, obviously, that's what you aim for to start. Obviously, you want to get more, but on a pitch like that, you'll take the 2.
Were you worried the way that Stokes and Root came out after lunch? I mean, sitting up there, we thought, here we go, we'll strap ourselves in and watch Stokes going a bit crazy here.
Yeah, pretty much. On a pitch like that, it's tough to control 2 quality players at the crease. So I thought, yeah, one of those days where you just couldn't control him, but he played well. But we got him out in the end, so that's important. And we got 9 wickets in the innings, so I'm pretty happy with the bowling group today.
Yeah. What do you think when you're running in and bowling at him in that sort of mood, though?
Better field settings, a little bit more strategic planning when it comes to bowling. Slower ball, take the pace off the ball a little bit, change out the length a little bit. But on a day like that, yeah, tired bodies from yesterday, coming in after lunch on the second day, it's going to be easy for a guy like that to score. So, well, that's one of those days.
Yeah. I'm very lucky, Kimo. I've watched quite a lot of Test matches here over the years. I don't think I've ever seen it turn like this so early. Now, what's going on?
The pitches in the Caribbean it's a bit of concern. There's no enjoyment for fast bowling anymore. There's no pitch you can identify and you will want to go out there and perform as a fast bowler. It's all dead tracks now, and it's a bit concerning for me as a fast bowler. We have a good group of fast bowlers coming through in the future as well, and we need to have a discussion about it and what we can go forward in order to improve the pitches and bring back a life to cricket again in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Did it worry you in this match that it's spinning so quickly?
A little bit. It would. Obviously, it's only day 2. There's 3 more days left in the game, so it could be a little bit worrying, but I think the guys can negotiate it pretty well.
A bit of a concern, he said there, Phil. I wonder if it might be a bit more than a bit of a concern.
Well, especially when you get a 500 on the board as well. As a spin bowler, this is you know what I mean? You just see the odd one turn. As you say, it's probably going to get worse and worse and worse. It might not, fizz through, perhaps, but you just feel that you're in the game. And this is where Jack Leach has got to be... He's got to come together now with Joe Root. I mean, there has been criticism about Joe Root and the way he handles his spinners and the way he bowls them and uses them and field placings and everything. But Jack Leach now is going to be a huge, huge part of this Test match. And it's just about, putting the arm round him, perhaps have a little chat with him tonight as well over a bit of dinner or something, you know what I mean? And just say, right, OK, what are you thinking? You're going to be big here. Same as you log in, but I want you to get your 5-ers. You're going to be the match winner. And it's going to be about how he can handle that pressure. I think he can. I think he's bowled nicely for England every time, he's gone in and bowled. But, people always say, spin bowlers, do you get under pressure when it's not turning? Well, I'll tell you something. You get under pressure when it's not turning. When you do see it, that's your ballpark. That's where you want to be involved in. So he's going to be feeling nervous but excited and have a massive, massive part to play.
It might be his defining moment, actually.
Yes,
because
could be.
If it is set up like this, and we've talked about the restart, and it is turning, because you're right. I mean, when that ball is thrown to you as a spinner, I say, well, there you go, Phil, it's spinning. Go and win the game for us. There is that massive expectation on you to go out and do it, and so it will. I mean, we'll see how Leach goes, but it could be the moment in which he actually spins England to victory. And that really sets him up then for a long career as England's main spinner. If he doesn't do it and the ball is spinning, then people might be looking rather differently at it, because there is no hiding place. This is Test cricket. This is what it's all about. And you have a pitch like this. I remember Moeen falling foul of a turning pitch in the West Indies a few years ago now, and of course also at Edgbaston against Australia when he got dropped. That moment comes and you've got to grab it, because there's no one else that can do it. At least the faster bowlers, there's 3 or 4 of you knocking about, and you can share it about and someone gets lucky. But the spinner, you're probably doing it by yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
Nothing matches the pressure of Brian Lara's hit one down your throat and you're too busy thinking about what your mixer's going to be to catch it. That's
especially as he's only just got 375, which was a world record.
Yeah, I was under the table. I thought, no. Of all the people to pick out, he went running backwards, Thomas. I mean, he had to run as well. I'm looking at the very area. You ran back, you circled round a bit. It was a bit of a skyer.
Sun was in the eyes. Wind
swirling
was
round.
But what a great
perfect
place.
blue sky.
Yes, if he can.
It was a great
pull
catch.
off yeah, thank you, John. Thank you. If
It's got better over the years.
I'm delighted to say that we've run out of time. Otherwise,
I was just getting going. Then I could have told you step by step.
Talking through some of the other ones. He'll talk through the Michael Slater one before you know it.
But I will just say something. There's no better place.
Yeah.
If he can win in Barbados, that will be a huge fillip for England.